Hey folks, today I'd like to show you some of the principles that modern rock guitar players like Guthrie Govan use to create their lines and fluid playing style when it comes to legato runs. Even though it's quite hard, or should I say impossible, to condense the playing style of a personality in just one sentence or just a small video, I think there are still some principles you can filter out, and maybe you can use them to create your own lines and incorporate them in your playing. But first of all, here's the lick slow and the taps so you can play it and analyze it. Now let's see what we got. We are in the key of D minor, so the obvious scale would be D Aeolian, D Dorian, D minor pentatonic, or the D blues scale. When we use the D blues scale, we have a chromatic note, which is the blue note. And we can use that because legato runs are always much easier if you have 3 notes per string. That's why many rock players prefer the 3 note per string scales. So maybe we can create some kind of scale mixture between D Dorian and D blue note, so we have plenty of stuff to create 3 note per string runs. At places where we don't have 3 note per string, we can create them artificially by filling in the gaps, let's say between the root and the ninth. And this is how the lick starts. I just play the flat 9. And this is actually a wrong note, but it doesn't matter as long as you resolve it good and you play at a certain speed. When you play at a certain speed, the listener won't recognize that you play a wrong note. So don't be afraid of using wrong notes. Then I go down and I have the blue note here, and I use it to create a certain shape, which would be 4th, flat 5, 5th, and I use it at different positions. I use it to fill in 13th and 5th. And well, this could actually be called the gypsy scale, but I don't hear it as a gypsy scale. I just use the shape and slide it at different positions. And I use this shape to make a transition between this pattern and this pattern. And so I started here and now I'm here. Next thing is that I use this 3 note sequence, which is from the D Dorian or D Aeolian scale. And as you can see, I don't use my 4th finger, which would be the correct way to do it, but I use the 1st, 2nd and 3rd finger. And this is something that you can see with a lot of players. They don't use the pinky finger that much, because it is and it will always be the weakest finger, and you don't have to torture yourself by trying to use it, even though you don't get satisfying results with it. I think it's fine to practice, but if you find that the 3rd finger is easier to use, then just use it. Okay, so I'm down here. Here's the blue note again, so I use it. Then comes a run, which is more or less a D minor arpeggio, but I don't think of it as such. I just think I use 3 notes, then I use 1 note, then I use 3 notes. And this is another principle that you can use at many places, like 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, and you get a certain kind of arpeggio sound. Okay, so that was the lick. What we got is we use chromatic notes, we use a scale mixture out of the blue note and the Dorian or Aeolian scale, as you wish. So we use all the available notes we have in the pot of the scale. We try to avoid the 4th finger, try to use the 3rd finger, and at some places we have to use the 4th, but as I said, we don't have to torture ourselves. Another thing is we use chromatic notes or the blue note as a transition point to come from one scale position to the other. And another thing that I didn't mention up to now is learn as much legato scale chunks as possible, like combine them. The more you learn, the easier it will come to your playing, and the easier you will be able to combine them. So I hope this little tutorial helped you to build your own line. Be creative, don't just copy the lines of others. Behind everything there are some thoughts, and you just have to find out what are the thoughts, and maybe you can incorporate them in your playing. Best of luck.